Sec 1, Chapter 5, 5.1c, Part 1. Simple equations in one unknown. Now, in this part of the chapter, we would like you to be able to solve equations involving the brackets. Now, here are some of the skills where you will need to use. Okay, number one, we have brackets, right? So you need to know how to apply the distributive law to expand the brackets. And then we'll need to learn how to do simplification, the expressions on each side, and move the like terms over to one side of the equations and the variables and constants over to the other side of the equation so that we can solve the equation. Now let's try to do some of the questions and put these concepts to use. Please turn to Chapter 5, Part 1 of your notes. Look for the option 5.1c. Okay, we are going to solve equations involving brackets. But before we begin with that, let's write down these two additional questions. Okay, let's do the basic skills first. The basic skill down here I'm going to explore is to move the like terms over to one side of the equation and the constant term to the other side of the equation. So let's look at our level 1 question. You'll probably need to find a space to write down these two questions somewhere. Maybe you can take out your exercise book, pause the video, copy down the question, and then try to follow the lesson after that. Okay, let's solve the following questions. First one, solve the equation 5x plus 3 equals to 16. Now, if you'd like to solve this kind of equation, you need to get 5x on our own. So I would like to have something plus 3 to be equals to 16. What is this something? How do I get just something on its own? So something plus 3 is equals to 16. So I need to get rid of the plus 3. So in my equation, there's a left-hand side and a right-hand side. For me to get rid of plus 3, I'll do a subtract 3. So it'll be 16 subtract 3. So something plus 3 is equals to 16. The something is equals to 16 minus 3, which gives me 13. Now I have 5x equals to 13. So 5 unit of x is equals to 13. How to get only 1 unit of x? That will be 13 divided by 5. And we get the answer. Now this is a very basic skill where we shift one constant term over to the other side. What happens now if we need the second type of question where we need to shift both the variable and the constant? So let's take a look at question number 2. Solve the following equation. Have you copied down the question into your exercise book? Alright, now let's begin. I have 5x plus 2 to be equals to 23 plus 2x. Firstly, where are the like terms? The like terms are, in this case, the constant term with the constant term, the variable 5x. This is x, the power here is power 1, and this is 2x, so it's another like term. The power here is also 1 for x, so we shall need to learn how to group the terms together. Let's do this one at a time. Let me shift my constant term first. So on my left hand side, I'm going to keep 5x. It's going to stay here. But I'm going to migrate a plus 2, something plus 2, okay, over to the right hand side. Now this is an addition. This is an add 2. So if I migrate over, I'm going to get rid of plus 2. I will do the reverse operation. That means I'll get 23 minus 2. And that will leave me with 21. And 2x stays on this side for the time being. So you notice that my constant term have shifted over and it has simplified to 21. Now let's take a look at our x terms. So I have 5x over here, and this is a plus 2x. Add 2x. 5x is equals to 21, add 2x. So now I'm going to shift all the x terms over to my left hand side. 5x stays here, don't move. I'm going to migrate a positive 2x, this is addition, over to the left hand side. If I'm going to migrate over, I need to undo the operation. This is a plus 2x. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract 2x. And the number 21 stays on the right hand side. Simplifying 5x minus 2x, that will give us 3x. So 3 units of x is equals to 21. Now, 3 units of x is 21, so I will get x to be equals to 21 divided by 3, 7. Okay, so this is the very basic questions that you need to know in order to shift the terms onto different sides. We'll do more practice questions as we move on later. So if you do not understand it yet, don't worry, you can repeat the video, or you can do with us the next few questions together with us, and we shall practice a little bit more. Let's practice a little bit more. Now, using your exercise book, write down the following questions inside your exercise book. You may pause the video and continue after you have done so. Now let's take a look at the question. I have 27 minus 3x to be equals to 18x plus 34. Our objective here in this case is to group the like terms together on one side. And of course, if I can, I'll simplify the constant term on the other side. So I'll have my equal sign in the center. Take note, I'll try to, as much as possible, to keep my x terms positive. So in this case, let's take a look at our equation. I have a 18x and a negative 3x over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep x terms, all the terms with the x, on my right hand side so that my x can stay positive. This is 18x. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift all the terms with x over to the right hand side. Now this is 27 subtract 3x. If it's going to subtract 3x and it will be migrating over to the right hand side, this process is subtraction of 3x. When it comes over to the right hand side, it will become addition of 3x. Okay, so when we migrate over to the other side, we need to reverse the operation. Now we are going to group all the constant terms on the left hand side. So originally, who stays here? 27 stays here on the left hand side. So somebody needs to migrate over from the right hand side. So the constant term on the right hand side is 34. This is 18x. Add 34, an addition of 34. So if it migrates over, I will need to do a subtraction of 34. Now after we have shifted the terms, we are going to simplify. So 27 minus 34, that gives you negative 7. And 18x plus 3x, that gives you 21x. Now let's take note. I have 21 units of x. How to find only 1 unit of x? I'm going to divide by 21. So I should take Negative 7 over 21. Check. Can we simplify this answer? Is this answer the final answer? No. So what is 27? What is 7 over 21 simplified to? Negative 1 over 3. Answer. Please try the next practice question on your own before you check the answers. Now let us try to shift all the x terms to one side and the constant terms to the other side. Where will you shift all the x terms to? Left hand side or right hand side? Both are applicable, so the choice is up to you. In this case, I will try to shift all the x terms over to the right hand side. Would you like to try the answer? Have you gotten the answer? Let's take a quick break before we move on to handle the harder questions. 2 minutes. In the next part of our chapter, we are going to look at solving equations involving brackets. So now we notice that there is an equation down here, exercise 3, question A. So please turn to your notes, chapter 5, part 1. Look for exercise 3A. Now in the following question, I have 7 times of x plus 2. What is 7 times the whole of x plus 2? 7 groups of x plus 2. So in this case, I will need to do a distributive law. We are going to do an expansion. So I will have 7 groups of x plus 2. That gives me 7 groups of x, which is 7x, and 7 groups of 2, which is 7 times 2, 14. On the other side, we have 2 groups of 2x plus 9. So that means I will have 2 times of 2x, which gives me 4x. 2 times of 9. So 2 times 9, 18. Now it comes back to our previous level of question where we need to shift the terms around. So I'm going to, in this case, keep x on my left hand side to keep it as positive as much as possible. So I'm going to keep 7x on my left hand side. Who needs to migrate over? 7x and 4x are like terms. So in this case, 4x, this is a positive 4x. 4x is added to 18. So I'm going to migrate 4x over and it will become subtract 4x. I'm going to keep all the constant term on my right hand side. Originally, 18 stays here. Who is going to migrate over? 18 is a constant term. 14 is also a constant term. This is 7x. Add 14. So I'm going to migrate 14 over. So if 14 is going to come over, it will become the reverse operation. Instead of adding, I will subtract 14. That leaves me with, I'm going to do the next step to simplify, 3x to be equals to 4. 3x is equals to 4. 3 units of x is equals to 4. How do we get 1 unit? So divide by 3. And that will be 4 over 3, the answer. Let's take a look at the different steps again. First step, what do? We expand out the brackets, apply the distributive law. Next, we shift the constant terms around and we group the like terms together. So we group them together. Then we simplify. And finally, we divide to solve for x. Let's try to put this in use for the next few questions. Next question, exercise 3, question B. Now let's recall what are the steps that we need to do. Number 1, we have brackets over here, so we need to do an expansion. Okay, and after that, we'll need to arrange and group the terms together, simplify, and divide to solve for our answers. So let's carry out our first step. We're going to expand this. I have 3 groups of 2x plus 4. That means I'll have 3 groups of 2x and 3 groups of 4. Equals to 4 groups of 7x minus 5. So I'll have 4 groups of 7x and 4 groups of negative 5. 4 groups of negative 5. So this will be negative 20. Now we are going to group the like terms together. In this case, this is 28x and this is 6x. So I'm going to group all my x term over to my right hand side instead, so that I can keep my x as positive as possible. So 28x stays over here. Who's going to migrate over? 6x will be migrating over. This is 6x added to 12. So it's addition of 6x. When it comes over, I will do the reverse. Subtract 6x. Let's take a look at the constant terms. 12 is already originally on my left hand side. So who's going to migrate over? The other constant term will be negative 20. This is subtract 20. So I'm going to shift over, undo the operation. That is negative 20, subtract 20. So I'll be adding 20. Now let us simplify. I'll get a 32 to be equals to 22x. And how am I going to find the x? This is 22 units of x. So in order to get 1 unit, I'll divide by 22. So I have 32 divided by 22. Is this going to be the final answer? No, I'll need to simplify 32 over 22, and that gives me 16 over 11. Or I can change it to improper fraction. That will be 1 and 5 over 11. Or in this case, if I will have to create a decimal, change it to a decimal place, it will be 1.45 recurring. So the number recurs and repeats from 4 to 5. So this will be the final answer. We would like to try the next few questions on your own first before checking the answers. Please try the following question on your own first before checking the answers. Have you gotten the answer? Here's the last question for this part. We have, in this case, negative 5 groups of 7 plus 4t. So the other one on the other side will be 2 groups of 3t minus 8. Let's recall our steps. First, we need to do the expansion. This will be negative 5 group of 7, subtract 5 groups of 7. So that will give me subtract 35 or negative 35. Negative 5 groups of 4t. Negative 5 groups of 4t. That means subtract 5 groups of 4t. So I'm going to subtract 20t. 2 groups of 3t minus 8, that will be 2 groups of 3t, 6t, 2 groups of minus 8, subtract 16. Next, we'll need to shift the terms around, group the like terms together. In this case, I will group my negative 20t with 6t, but I will shift all the terms over to the right hand side instead. So on the right hand side, 6t stays here. This is negative 20t, or rather subtraction of 20t. So when I migrate over, I'm going to do the reverse operation, addition of 20t. On my left hand side, we have the number negative 35 and the constant term negative 16. So this is subtract 16 over on this side. It migrate over. If that is subtract 16, I'll reverse the operation. I will add 16. Next, let us simplify. I'll get negative 35 plus 16 to be equals to negative 19, 26t. 26 units of t is negative 19. How do we get only 1 unit of t? We will take negative 19 divided by 26. Is this the final answer? Can it be simplified further? Yes, this is the final answer. it can't be simplified further. So we'll get the answer. Now let us do a quick recall of our main few steps involving brackets. First, expand. Secondly, group together. Group the like terms together. Simplify. And then we try to solve for t. Have you gotten the answer? That's all for this part of the chapter. Take a 2-minute break and we'll come back to slightly harder questions in the next part. See ya!